So this is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and the face tracking. So while I'm moving the device around, my face is kept right in the middle. Now let's take a look at what the actual screen is showing here. So as you can see, while I'm moving it around, there's a square around my face, focusing in and tracking my face. And it does a pretty good job, even though I have this iPhone in front of me that's kind of messing up or obstructing the Pocket 3, but it's still following me and doing a pretty good job. Hey, what's up guys? Did you guys just buy one of these DJI Osmo Pocket 3s and wondering how to use it? Then this video is for you. In this tutorial, you're going to quickly learn how to get the best settings and produce the best videos with the Pocket 3. One of the first things you need to do is make sure you connect the Pocket 3 to the DJI Mimo app. You can download that on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. This ensures you're using the latest firmware and that the software that you see on the Pocket 3 is up to date. Make sure to download the Mimo app and connect it to the Pocket 3 via Bluetooth. An important step is to make sure you calibrate the Pocket 3. So what you need to do is on the main screen here, you need to swipe down from the top, just like that. And then you need to click on this wrench icon here and then scroll down and keep scrolling down until you see the Gimbal Calibration icon right here, or button. So click on that. And then you're going to need to place this Pocket 3 on a flat surface. So it's probably better you have a tripod. And then once you do that, make sure you click on confirm. And then once it's on a flat surface, it's going to calibrate. Obviously you can see the calibration failed here because I don't have it on a tripod. So we're gonna take a look at some basic navigation of the Pocket 3. So I'm just gonna press on the red power button to turn it on. I'm gonna rotate the screen to get a horizontal perspective. Now if I swipe from the top down like this, I'll get the settings and the main settings. This icon here is where you can save some of your video presets if you change the frame rate or the resolution and so forth. This one here, this icon here, this is to screen rotate and capture. So if you have the Osmo Pocket 3 powered off and you rotate it from the vertical to the horizontal, it'll start recording right away. Usually I have this off because I want to usually check the video settings before I start recording. But that's up to you if you guys want to quickly start recording or vlogging. I'm going to go back here. This is the brightness. So I can change the brightness a little bit better so you guys can see the screen better, hopefully. Now this is the FaceTrack or the face tracking or selfie view. You can turn it on or off. And let me just scroll out of this. So I'm gonna swipe from the bottom and I think it should be looking for me. Let me double check here. I'm gonna press this icon right here to flip it. And then I'm going to see, yeah, so it says FaceTrack enabled, so it recognized me. Anyways, I'll just go back to this screen right here. I'm gonna rotate it so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm gonna swipe from the top to the bottom. And I'm gonna uncheck this. Usually I have this off unless I know for sure I'm gonna be doing a selfie vlog or a, what is it called? A standing head vlog or something like that. And here are the main settings. So this wrench right here is the main settings that you can find all the technical stuff. One thing you might wanna do is on the gimbal startup direction right here, put it to, sorry, let me go back and put it to the last setting. That's usually how I like it. I'm gonna go back here. There's also this option to rotate screen to power off. So right now it's on now. So if I turn this and rotate it, it should power off. That's something I usually don't like. I have it on anyways. So let me go back to that setting right here and rotate screen this and go to never. So usually I like never because sometimes I record on horizontal or landscape orientation, but I have this screen on a portrait orientation. That's usually when I'm doing like videos of like walking tours and so forth. Another good option in the settings is this press and hold shutter record button to cancel recording. So to demonstrate that, what I can do is I'm just gonna go back here. I'm gonna press and hold the record button, or I'm just gonna press it actually. So you can see it's recording now, but let's say I started this recording pretty bad and I wanna delete it right away. Instead of powering or shutting or stopping the recording and deleting the video, what I can do is I can just press and hold this and it'll automatically delete this video. So you can see the recording has been canceled. So that's a really good option here. So let me show you that option again. Go to the settings right here and scroll down. And right here, press and hold shutter record button to cancel recording. And going back up here, we have the slider control of this 5D joystick. So it's just to change, if you want to change the gimbal direction or if you want to change the zoom. But there's another way to do that. I can go back here and see this icon right here. So if I'm rotating this joystick here, you can see what it's doing. It's rotating left and right. But if I go up or down, it's zooming in. But I can press this button here. And now if I'm pressing up or down, it's going with the gimbal, it's rotating up or down. And now I can move left or right as well. So I can move in every direction. There's also this joystick speed right here. You can change the speed of these, of the zoom, as well as the gimbal, but I just keep it on the default. I'll go back to confirm. Now let's see here, we have the portrait or the orientation of the gimbal. So if I switch to landscape, I can do that. I can go to portrait or I can go to auto rotation. Usually I keep it on landscape because most of my videos and my vlogs, including my selfie vlogs, are landscape orientation. So for example, if I go click on auto here, so right now it's on auto, and let me go out of this. So right now you can see it's in horizontal orientation that it will record at. But if I switch it, now it goes to portrait orientation, and portrait orientation is at 3K max resolution. So anyways, I don't like that auto orientation change. So let me go back and change that to landscape. So usually landscape is what I like. Now this setting here, it changes the rotational speed of the gimbal when you're panning. Usually default works pretty good, but I've been testing fast recently and I still need to test it a little bit more, but default's usually good for vlogging. So let me just get back out of this here. And then we have the gimbal modes right here. So these gimbal modes determines how the gimbal pans. So for most people, follow is going to be good. It says suitable for most scenarios, including vlogs or selfie videos. However, this one right here, camera keeps the same direction with the touchscreen. I usually use this setting when I'm doing walking tours. But as I said, for most people, this follow method is usually the best. If I want to change the frame rate and the resolution, I can swipe up from the bottom. So I can just go like this. And now you can see the resolution and the frame rate options. So obviously, since you have the Pocket 3 and if you're shooting at horizontal orientation, then or landscape orientation, you want to keep it at 4K. And as we saw earlier, the portrait orientation, it's limited to 3K. And then we can change the frame rate. So if I swipe right to left, I get some more settings, including the Glamour Effects, the breathing compensation, and the image adjustment. For Glamour Effects, you do need to have it connected, the Pocket 3, to the Mimo app to see the effects in real time. I recommend just keeping it off if you're not planning to see the effects or you don't want to see the effects in real time, because you can always turn it on in the Mimo app once you connect the Pocket 3. The breathing compensation has nothing to do with actually breathing or the audio. It has to do with the focus compensation or focusing when the Pocket 3 focuses depending on the depth of field or the object in focus, but I just keep it on for now. And the image adjustment right here, I usually just keep it on 0 for sharpness and noise reduction. I don't want DJI Pocket 3 to make any adjustments and make my image look too sharp or too soft, so I just keep it at 0 for now. I will do another video with more information with some before and after by testing these, so make sure to subscribe. So I'll click on confirm. Now the best part about this is clicking on the Pro icon right here. So if I click on the Pro button here, I can change the exposure. I can set a certain range for the ISO as well as change the exposure compensation. Usually for most people, what they do is, let me put this back at 0. They'll select manual, and if they're shooting 30 frames per second, they'll keep the shutter speed at 1/60. Supposedly it looks a lot more natural when you're shooting that way. I've done it both ways, where I keep the shutter speed at automatic or manual. I'm not noticing a huge difference, so you may want to try that out. I'll just click on confirm for now. And then we have the white balance. Usually I keep the white balance at automatic, right there, auto white balance. Glamour Effects is here again. And the color mode, usually for most people, normal is good. If you like color grading and using LUTs, you can change to HLG or the D-Log M. For vlogs, for normal vlogs, I usually just keep it at color. And then there's the focus mode. So the focus mode, I usually keep it at continuous, but when I'm doing product reviews, especially Amazon product reviews, I keep it on this showcase mode. But continuous is good for most scenarios, including vlogging and walking tours and so forth. And that's pretty much it for these pro adjustments. So you may want to play around with this exposure and test the different manual settings if you do decide to use them. So if you want to view your videos or your photos, just swipe left to right, and then they'll come up here. This one's automatically playing, the first one here. I'll just pause that. I can click on this icon of these 4 rectangles in the top left, and that'll give me the thumbnail view of viewing the different videos or photos. And if I want to select and delete them, I can click on this check mark here, and then I can start selecting them and putting check marks. And then I can click on the ellipsis here on the top right, and then I can delete it, but I don't want to delete these. And then I can just exit out of here, just like that. If you want to change shooting modes or go from video to camera or vice versa, you can click on this camera icon in the bottom left corner, and then you can pan or scroll through the different options. So there's photo, video, low light, which is really good. The option or the screen doesn't stay up too long, so you have to scroll pretty fast. There's slow motion, hyperlapse, there's also panorama, and then if you save your favorites in the settings, you can also choose some of your favorites as well. So these are the different ways or the different shooting modes for the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And once you change them, you'll notice the icon in the bottom left corner is different. So we saw we can click on this icon here, this plus or minus sign with the 1X, click on it, and then we can activate the joystick here to change the zoom. So I can zoom in here to 2 times, but then you can see this diagonal double arrow here right at the bottom beside the 4K 30. And if I press that, that gives another 2 times zoom in. And I'm just gonna press down on my joystick here to zoom out. So these are different options to zooming in and zooming out by pressing the double arrow here, which is 2 times, or using the joystick along with the icon or this option right here on the right. So remember, this option on the right here, it gives you the option of changing what the joystick does, either to panning or tilting the gimbal or to zooming in and out. So if you're ever panning around, either the Pocket 3 is automatically doing it for you depending on the gimbal mode, or if you have FaceTrack, or you're manually doing it like I am. and you don't like where the gimbal is pointing, you can always double click the joystick and it'll reset to its original or one of the default positions. So let me show that to you again. I'm gonna move the gimbal up, and now I'm just gonna double click on the 5D joystick, and it automatically resets the gimbal position. So if I want to focus in on a person or an object, I can just click on the screen here, and you can see like that yellow square that pops up to focus. But if I double click, it'll activate the ActiveTrack. So let me give you an example. I'll go to my mirrorless camera here. I'm going to try to double click it, and you can see it has ActiveTrack enabled. So if I move my gimbal around, it's going to try to keep the angle or the field of view on the camera that I just clicked on. Obviously, it'll eventually reach an endpoint. Let me see if I can show it to you. So yeah, so once it reaches a gimbal endpoint, then it loses the track. But as you can see, it gained it again. And yeah, so it does a pretty good job with the ActiveTrack if it can focus in on it. Unfortunately, the camera that I selected, it's pretty difficult because there's a laptop in the background. So if I swipe down and turn on the FaceTrack or the FaceTrack Selfie on, and I double click on the joystick here, it'll automatically start tracking my face. However, the one difference is with this enabled, I'm not recording right now. So I'm not recording, but it's still recording, or sorry, it's still following my face. So this is good for when you have this connected to your computer via USB and you want to use it as a webcam. Now let me swipe down, uncheck this. It's still tracking me right now. So it just stopped actually. So now it's stopped tracking me. And now what I can do is go to the smart gimbal mode right here, and I'll select face auto detect right there, and I'll click on start. Now it's going to detect the face closest to the center when I press record, when I press on the red button here. So you notice it's a little bit different than the FaceTrack or Selfie, which automatically detects it. So let me see what happens if I double click on this, and it just recentered the gimbal and it's not tracking my face yet. But once I start recording, you can see it's recording my face. And now I'm just walking around with the Pocket 3 and it's recording my face, and I'm in the center. So now I'm going to show you guys how to use the dynamic framing. So the dynamic framing keeps an object, a subject, or a person in a certain part of the frame. So I'm first going to go to the smart gimbal icon right here on the left. I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to click on the middle icon right here, which is the dynamic framing. So I have it selected, and I'm going to click on start. Now you can see this grid. It's the golden ratio, the golden spiral, and then there's a bunch of squares. It looks like there's 9 squares, and I can select or highlight these squares by moving the joystick on the Pocket 3. And I need to highlight or put the subject of the dynamically framed object or subject or person in one of these yellow squares. So I'm going to select the bottom left square. I'm going to try to select this bottle of omega-3 if I can. It's a vegan omega-3. Once I have it selected, I'm going to press on the joystick. So I have it selected. Now you can see ActiveTrack is enabled. Now I'm going to start and click on record here. Now it's recording. So while I move the Pocket 3 around, the bottle of omega-3 should remain in the bottom left corner of the screen. So I'm just moving it around, and as you can see, it's remaining on the left. And if I spin around, it's still remaining on the left. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close to the bottom left corner. And let's see what happens if I bring it down a little bit. And as you can see, it's still staying to the bottom left or as close as possible. And that's how you use the dynamic framing in the Osmo Pocket 3. And if you guys enjoyed this Osmo Pocket 3 tutorial for beginners, you know what to do. And as always, live easy, sleep breezy, and stay lovely.